All right, this is a Class B inspection for modernized skills testing. For the skills testing, you get a checklist of the safety critical items that you're supposed to inspect. You only need to inspect the items that are on this checklist. So it starts in the in cab with in-vehicle engine start. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So for a safe start, now this is a manual transmission. I want to make sure that it is in neutral. My parking brake is set. My foot is covering the brake. I don't have to apply it, but I do need to push in the clutch. And then I'm going to check around the vehicle, make sure that there's nobody leaning up against the vehicle or underneath it. And I can go ahead and turn the key to the on position. I'll check my ABS light, make sure that it comes on and goes off. Okay, that is good. And then I'm going to start the vehicle. And then the first thing I'm going to check is my oil pressure, make sure that's rising. That is, so I can safely keep the vehicle running. I'm going to double check neutral, double check my parking brake, and then slowly let my foot off the clutch until it's all the way out. Then I can take my foot away from the brake. So that's a safe start. First thing is the air brake test. So I'm going to start that. The first part of the air brake test is the governor cutout. And I'm going to build the air until the governor cuts out. Actually, I'm going to release the parking brake here. I'm not rolling or moving or anything, so I'm in a good position. If I was rolling off, I would use wheel chocks, or if there were an incline. So I'm going to build the air until the governor cuts out. It just cut out. It cut out at just over 125 psi. The governor should cut out between 120 and 140 psi. So the governor cut out in the correct area. So I'm going to turn the engine off and turn the key back to the on position. I'm going to make sure that my parking brake is released. I'll go ahead and put the vehicle in a low gear just to be on the safe side. And then I'm going to fully apply the service brake, which is the foot pedal. So that's pushed all the way in. Then I have my initial drop of air pressure. Once my needles have settled, I can say the start time, or the start pressure, which is about 110 psi. I can lose no more than 3 psi in 1 minute for a single vehicle. So I'm going to start that minute now, and I need to hold that for 1 full minute. And again, I can lose no more than 3 psi in 1 minute. So you got to be careful not to move your leg. Don't release or press the brake again. That will cause the results to be skewed. So we want to hold that nice and steady for 1 full minute. And then again, just as a reminder while we're waiting, you only need to check the items that are on the list. So almost there. Okay, so it's been a minute and I haven't lost any air pressure. So that is perfect. Again, I'm checking to make sure I lose no more than 3 psi in 1 minute. And I did lose 0. That's great, so that's operating correctly. My next test is to check and see when my low air warning light and indicator buzzer comes on. That needs to come on above 55 psi. So I'm going to pump the brake until that comes on, and then I will say what the pressure is when the light comes on. So the light's on. Looks like we're right about 75 psi. 75 psi. So that is above 55. That is operating correctly. My next test is the pop out. The valve here should pop out between 20 and 45 psi. So I will continue to pump the brakes. I'm going to watch the valve, and then I'll stop pumping once that pops out. Then I can see what the pressure is. But keep your eye on the valve so that you can see when that pops out. Okay, so the valve just popped out. We're right about 20 psi, so that is in the range of 20 to 45 psi. That is operating correctly. Okay, next I'm going to do a safe start again. Clutch in, put this in neutral, parking brake set, checking around the vehicle, start the truck. Oil pressure is rising. Double check neutral and parking brake. Slowly let my foot off the clutch, and then I can start building the pressure. From there, I'm going to go to my lighting indicators on the list. I'm going to check and make sure that the lights come on and go off when you turn the switches on and off. So my left turn indicator goes on and off. My right turn indicator turns on and off. My hazard lights or four-way flashers come on and then go off. I turn my headlights on, and my high beam indicator comes on and then comes off with the switch. Okay. So next is emergency equipment. I'm going to check my fire extinguisher down here, make sure that it's securely mounted to the vehicle. It's not cracked or damaged, it's properly charged and properly rated. And it's not missing any safety devices, such as the pins that keep you from squeezing the handle. I also want to check and make sure that I have spare fuses. I want to make sure that I have the proper size and type of fuses and that they're in working condition. Also want to check for my red reflective triangles. I need a minimum of 3. They need to be clean and not broken and in usable condition. Next on the list is windshield and traffic monitoring devices. So I'm going to check my windshield, make sure that it's free of cracks and rock chips. There are no illegally placed stickers. And I'm also checking the seal on the windshield, making sure that it is not leaking and that the seal is in good condition. Now for traffic monitoring devices, I want to check my mirrors, make sure that they're securely mounted, they're not cracked or damaged, they're clean, no illegally placed stickers, and free of defects. And then I also have a reverse backup camera here, so I want to put that in reverse. Make sure that this comes on and it's adjusted properly and I can see through it. It's clean, the cameras are clean, and that appears to be working and operating correctly. Okay. Next are my wipers and washers. I want to check my windshield wipers, make sure that they're not cracked or damaged. The blade is not separating from the wiper. It has good pressure against the windshield, and it's operating smoothly. Also want to check the washer to make sure that it's spraying well and that it cleans the window and not just smear. So the washers are working and the wipers are cleaning the window, not just smearing, so they are working, operating correctly. Next are the horns. So the city horn works well, and this vehicle is not equipped with an air horn. Okay, next I want to check, since I have air pressure built up, I want to check my parking brakes and trailer brakes, and then my service brake check. So, for the parking brake, that is there. I don't know why it says trailer brakes on this list. So I want to leave that set and then tug against that. Okay, so I pulled against the brakes and it kept the vehicle from moving. And right there it says trailer, so I'm not just making this up. So Class B trailer shouldn't be there. Anyway, so just ignore that. Next is the service brake. I want to put the vehicle in low gear, release my parking brake, and I want to pull forward approximately 5 miles an hour and then come to a stop. I'm going to check and make sure that when I press my service brake, it brings the vehicle to a stop smoothly and operates correctly. And I want to check and make sure that the vehicle does not pull to the right or the left. So, get my speed up, about 5 miles an hour, clutch in, apply the brakes, and it did not pull to the right or the left. The vehicle stopped as it should, and everything appears to be working normally. So that is the service brake check, and that includes everything on the checklist inside here. So next I'm going to do the external light check. Now for the external light check, I need to make sure that I'm checking all the lights. So I'm going to ask the examiner here to help me with that. Would you please help me with the light check? I'd like you to go out to the front passenger side. And what I'm going to do is turn on the lights and let you know what they are, and please let me know if they're working. We're going to check the front of the vehicle and the right side of the vehicle.
All right.
Okay, so my headlights are on, low beams, good. My marker lights, my clearance lights, right turn indicator, left turn indicator, four-way flashers, once again low beams, and then high beams. Okay, thank you. Please come to the other side. I'll have you go to the back corner. We'll check the driver's side and the rear of the vehicle.
All right.
Okay, so my marker and clearance lights. Okay, left turn, right turn, four-way flashers, brake light. All right, that's everything. Exit the vehicle using 3 points of contact. Grab my stick here. Turn the lights off. Okay, next it says light operations check. We did that. Front of vehicle and engine area. Starting with the front of the vehicle, we're going to check the lenses. So I'm going to check all the lenses on the front of the vehicle, everything that I can see, and making sure they're all securely connected, they're fastened, they're clean, free of excessive wear, or making sure that they're clear and that they are all the proper color. Next, I want to check my fluid levels. So I'm going to open the hood. Okay, I'll start on this side. Here's my coolant reservoir. I'm going to check the level of the coolant reservoir using the sight glass here, checking to make sure that the fluid level is above the low and at or below the full line. Next, I'm going to check my oil level. This is my engine oil dipstick. I would check the engine oil level with the engine off. I want to completely remove the dipstick, clean it off, fully reinsert it, pull it back out, and check to make sure that it is at the proper level, above the low or add, and at or below the maximum or full lines. Next is my power steering fluid reservoir. I want to check my power steering fluid level using this sight glass here, making sure that it is above the minimum and maximum lines, or it is in between the minimum and maximum lines. Okay, next is fluid and air leaks. So I want to check all my hoses and the radiator, engine, transmission, just everything around here for fluid leaks, any kind of engine fluids. And I want to check and make sure there's no seepage or dripping leaks or anything underneath the vehicle. Next, and again, all the hoses. I'm checking all the hoses to make sure the ones that have liquids in them are not leaking. Then I'll check all my air hoses throughout the entire engine compartment area and make sure that there are no audible leaks and there's no chafing or anything. Next, steering system. So we have our steering column here, our steering box, and our steering linkage. So our pitman arm, drag link, control arms, and then tie rod down here. We're checking all of these. I'm looking for all the joints, links, pins, arms, rods, everything, making sure that they are not cracked or damaged. So they're securely connected, no loose or missing damaged nuts or cotter pins, and no bent parts, as well as the steering box securely fastened to the frame and not leaking. Next, we have the steering axle tires. So the tires, I'm going to check the sidewalls and the top of the tire, looking for cuts, bulges, abrasions, making sure there's no gashes, there's no chunks of tread or the sidewall rubber missing that show the plies of the tire. Also want to make sure that we have even tread wear, making sure that there's no nails or screws or anything that could cause any kind of leakage. Minimum tread depth is next. I want to check all the major tread grooves here. Make sure I have a minimum of 4/32 of an inch tread depth on the steer tires and minimum of 2/32 of an inch tread depth on all the other tires. And I would check that using a tire tread depth gauge. Next is the inflation of the tires. So I would locate the valve stem, make sure this is not bent, cracked, or damaged. It has a cap, it's in place and announced securely. I would check the inflation of the tires here using a tire gauge. The proper inflation for these tires is around 105 psi, so I would make sure that they are properly inflated. Okay, next is rims. I want to check around the bead of the rim, make sure it's not dented. Check the entire rims, making sure there's no cracks or illegal repair welds. Also want to check that where these studs come through the rims, the bolt holes, are not elongated or distorted. Okay, next are lug nuts. So I'm going to check all my lug nuts, making sure that they're all present and they're all tight. They're not cracked or damaged or split. And then I'm also checking for signs of looseness, such as streaking rust trails or streaking trails of rust going from these rings out. And then also shiny threads are both indicators that they could be loose. Also want to inspect the studs and make sure that they are not damaged. Next, I want to check the springs and mounts, airbags and shocks. This vehicle is not equipped with airbags in here, so I'm going to start with the spring mount. There's the forward spring mount here, and then there's the spring mount in the back. I want to check both of those, making sure that they are not cracked or damaged. They're securely fastened to the frame of the vehicle. No loose or missing nuts or bolts, and there are no illegal repair welds or anything there. Next, we have our leaf springs. The leaf springs are not cracked, damaged, bent, or shifted. They're securely connected to the axle and to the mounts. There's no loose or missing nuts or bolts, and the bushings are in place and in good condition inside there. Next, we have the shock absorber. So want to inspect that on the top where it connects to the frame, the mount here, and where it connects to the axle down here. Want to make sure that it is not cracked, damaged, or bent. There's no loose or missing nuts and bolts. The bushings inside here are in good condition. The cylinders here are not cracked or damaged or dented, and there are no leaks. Okay, next we have brake lines or hoses and leaks. So this is my air hose going from the truck to the braking system. I want to inspect this, make sure it's connected on both ends. They are not cracked or damaged, there's no leaks, it's not bulging, and it can supply air to the braking system. Next, I'm going to check down inside here for my drum and make sure that there are no contaminants inside the drum. Contaminants include grease or oil or dirt, any kind of debris. So we need to make sure that those are free of contaminants so it doesn't affect the braking ability of the vehicle. Okay, so that's everything in this area. Next, it says the side of the vehicle, lenses and reflectors. So I want to check all my lenses along the top and the reflectors here on the bottom. Any other lenses or reflectors that are in there, make sure that they're properly affixed to the vehicle they're not cracked or damaged, and they are reflective and clean, and they're all the proper color. Okay, next, traffic monitoring devices. So we've got our mirrors here. I'm checking the mount where it connects to the door. That's securely fastened, not cracked or damaged or bent, no excessive play. Then I'll check the mirrors, making sure that they are clean and not cracked, damaged, or wobbly, and that they are free of stickers. Next, battery. We have the battery box down here. This is easily accessible, so I'm going to go ahead and open that and remove the cover. Want to make sure the cover is in good condition and fully covers the batteries. We want to check and make sure that the batteries are secured, so they're not just in here loose. We want to make sure that the wires and terminals are all snug and that they are free of corrosion, and the wires going out and to the vehicle are not rubbing or chafing or shorting out anywhere, and there are no exposed wires. So I'll go ahead and put the cover back on. So you want to make sure that that is on there properly. There we go, that's secure. Okay, next is fuel tanks and DEF. This is not equipped with DEF, so our fuel tank is here. We're checking the entire tank, making sure that it is not cracked or damaged, securely mounted. It's not leaking anywhere from the tank or the lines coming to and from the engine. We also want to check and make sure that we have a fuel cap in place. It's on there secure, and inside is a good rubber seal that will help prevent leaks. Next, we'll check the frame of the vehicle. So from the front to the back, I want to check the frame, make sure that it's not bent, cracked, or damaged. It's not twisted. It doesn't have any illegal repair welds, and everything is securely connected to it. No loose or missing nuts or bolts, and that appears to be in good shape. Next is the rear of the vehicle. On the rear of the vehicle, I need to inspect all the lenses on the entire thing, making sure that it is in good condition, they're not cracked or damaged, they're securely mounted, and they are all the proper color. And then any reflectors that we have on here, we want to make sure that they are in place and in good operating condition, properly affixed and reflective. Also, part of my traffic monitoring devices, here's that camera on the back end. We want to inspect that, make sure that it's properly mounted, it's clean, and it's connected properly and working properly. So that is everything on the list for the Class B vehicle. And again, you only need to check the items that are on the list here, and that completes the inspection.